Good morning, everyone. This is Biz Chicks TV. This is the place where you can find tips and tools to help you do business better. We're here to help you run a profitable business that's fun to run and to take the hassle out of your hustle. And today we're going to be talking about your money. But before we go there, I want to introduce my co-host, Ms. Francine Gregory, real estate entrepreneur and tech diva, and our host of the day, Miss Caren with her Island Girl Hustle. She's a money mindset coach, and she posted a picture over there. I'm going to have to go check that out, Caren. But we want you to know that she's celebrating her birthday month, so we just want to say, woo-woo! Congratulations, Caren. And we are here to get your money straight. I'm Carolina from California Cover-Ups. Come on in, sit back, relax, get some information that you can apply immediately to help you run your business better. So without further ado, I bring to you Miss Caren Fern, all the way from Toronto, Canada, today, to bring you information about getting your money mindset together. Okay? Come on, let's have at it, guys. Get the water, let's hydrate so we can learn better. Yes. Sit up straight and get ready to take some notes. Miss Caren Fern, your money mindset coach with her Island Girl Hustle. Hi.
I got a great intro as always with Carolina. Great intro. And this month, my birthday month, and I decided that I'd focus it all on budgeting and all the ins and outs because I've got a full budget course that I sell for $4.97 as a whole. It takes you probably about 8 weeks. And then I have a watered down version for about $2 something. And that version gets you just self-study. But when you take the bigger version, you get me with the study so I can guide you through, go over your budget and that sort of thing. And so I wanted to, like last week, I did a little bit on what is a budget and how it really helps. And I took portions of that out of the program. And I did the same this week. So for the rest of the month, we're really going to be diving in talking about budget because I want to showcase how it's not just a simple thing you talk about, you write it up and it's done. It really has different components. Because we're on this beautiful place called Zoom and we can share, I've been working on my slides, so I get to come in on Wednesday and share slides and walk you through what I'm talking about to give a visual. Because I love that helps to enhance people. Even in my group, people might not be chiming in, but they're looking when I do tutorials and post them. And they tell me that's why people learn from what they're seeing. Sometimes you have a question and you think it's silly and you don't want to ask it in public. But when you see something put tone into it, you're like, oh, this is what I wanted to know. Maybe you don't even know that you wanted to know this thing, get answered. So that's what visuals really help you do. So without further ado, our topic today is why sticking with a budget is so difficult. I want people to know that I understand it's difficult. So even last week I shared about why you need it and why it helps. I still want to talk about why sticking to it is so difficult. It is so difficult. I don't want to undermine it, and I want to go over 3 points first before I bring up the visuals to just talk about it in the first half. So, number 1, you have to make a difficult decision, and humans hate those things. We just hate making difficult decisions, and we hate others making those difficult decisions too. We hate it for them without realizing. When a new boss come into work, and they make the decision, they're like, okay, we're going to keep 3 people and we're going to send home 3. The 3 leave is worried about the 3 that got sent. The 3 that got sent home is upset that the 3 got to stay. Nobody's checking themselves to see what they did that caused them to be sent home because people go back, watch how you work, understand what you were given to the company, and that dictates why some people stay and some people go. It also dictates some because that was the end of your journey. So it's twofold. It's never just the one thing that you see as face value. And as a business owner and as a person who watch how other people run their businesses, at times I hear people complain about it and I set it up, are you sure you were doing all you can? And are you sure your journey wasn't supposed to come to an end? I had a friend that was in a job paying for $20 an hour. And she was in this other place that was paying less, or so she thought. And when we sat down and she was complaining, I said, listen, let's just go for coffee and just straighten this out. She realized that the job that was paid $18 an hour was better off being there than a $20 job. Because a $20 job took her away from her family. It drained her. She worked 7 days a week. The money looked plenty, but she was so tired she couldn't enjoy. She went over to the $18 an hour. She had more time with the family. She could see what she's doing with the money far better, because one of the things about the tiredness, she felt she needed to make up with the kids. So she would take them out, buy them expensive things, carry them on trips, but they was never satisfied with that because they were missing their money. And what started happening when they get the great clothing, they would just sell it back to other people. They would just do a lot of things. Like I got there and I would go pull them up and like, you want to spend so much money, the room is in a mess and all that sort of stuff, but they were acting out in a different form. She didn't realize that, the conversation made her cry. I felt real sad, but I had to be the sense of reason. We've been friends for over 20 something years. So I know I was in a position to, even if she was vexed with me for like 2 days, even a week, I know at the end of the week we'll talk again. Because if not, she's not really vexed with me or upset with me. She's just upset that she didn't see this and she was focusing on. So anytime we talk about money, and that's why I put the two together, because I want people to know I'm not only telling you about money, how to make money, what to do with money, but I really, really want people to know the whole ins and outs as a whole about money. Because that's the part that screws up when we don't take the whole thing into account. All right, I'm going to sip some water. All right, number 2, it forces us to be disciplined with ourselves. That's the other reason it's so difficult. It is discipline. It's the discipline. Like, why do I need to write down $18.97 when I could just roll it off as $19? This is the biggest thing I get. Or why am I putting $5.97? That's just 3 pennies, Karen. Really? You watch your business and you watch those 3 pennies, and I'll tell you what happened with those 3 pennies. Those 3 pennies, you drop them in a jar, and you'll be surprised to see what happens. Matter of fact, if your bank will allow you, they have the roundup thing, where when you spend a certain amount of dollars, they'll round it up and take the roundup and put in your savings. Watch it. Watch the roundup every month, and you'll notice what happened to those pennies that you were thinking nothing about. Go and watch the roundup. Pay attention, watch your bill, you see the roundup. Number 3, what you have to do when others are doing. One of the things that makes it difficult in sticking to a budget is you want to do what others are doing, whether you understand it or not, or have done, or you want to do what you think they're doing. Because lots of times what you think they're doing, it's not what they're doing. You just think what they're doing, but it's not what they're doing. They themselves sometimes don't even know what they are doing. So don't go following them, because they might be doing a bunch of nonsense. Don't follow them. Plus, you might not be at the part of your journey that you can do what they're doing. And that's not your lesson. That's not the part you're at. So don't do it. So it makes you feel like you're not going forward. It makes you feel like you're stumbling. It makes you feel like you're not bringing in enough income. And all that I covered on the video. But it just makes you feel so uncertain. When the truth is, you are not where they are. And you might never want to be where they are. I know we say it all the time, but the truth is, you might see somebody doing great. They're dealing with a cheating husband, so their heart is heavy. They're sore inside, but they have to showcase to you that everything is going great. And it's not so. That's not the case. So they're suffering in silence because it is hard to talk about that sort of stuff. Or it could be something wrong with their kids. It could be a kid is sick. It could be anything. And so to be wishing to be in their space and doing what they're doing, you're asking also for their things that's happening to them, because you can't get to that place without that sufferation. You just can't. It's just not possible. That's what life is about. It's not possible to get there without having these obstacles. We see obstacle course, we see people doing fitnesses, right? We see them at their core strength. And I'm not going to lie, part of me wish sometimes I could take that rope and beat it like I see those guys are beating. But I know when I pick up the rope, I'm going to be stinging myself for the first couple of times, because there's no way I'm going to bring the rope back down. So they have beaten themselves with the rope, for a while. So now they're looking really good. I don't know if you guys know about it, but we had something called in Guyana Chinese skipping. And it's just a rope out of the tire tubing, and it stretches. So we used to strip it up really thin, tie it together, and make a Chinese skipping rope. And so two people will hold the rope and we'll jump in. You start with your ankles, you move up to your knees, then you move to your thighs, and then we got adventurous and you move to your waist. And then we went further, we went to the neck. And so you're on the ground and you're jumping into this rope and the person's holding to their neck. Well, of course, I am not jumping in there.
I hear you.
I am going into this. I used to want to be the champion, It was all about the mind. I was determined to jump into that rope because when I get into the rope, if I wasn't able to, when you get in, there's an argument. You need to get your ankle to pull down one side of the rope because that's the only way you can jump back out. Now, this is skills, okay? But you learn over time. So when you get into this rope, if you weren't able to get your ankle to hold half of the rope down, then it meets you at your neck and you can't jump.
Okay.
Right? It sounded difficult, and it was. But so do you see? It's just the mind that got the ones who jump into the rope in. It's really, we decide that we can jump into the rope and jump back out. We're going to fail lots of times, but we're willing to keep doing it until we win.
You master it, huh?
Yeah. And isn't that what life is about as we live as adults? Trying and failing. The only difference is as a kid, and there's the kids who run in a corner and hide. Most kids are going to cry, whine, but we're coming back in. Mm-hmm. We are coming back in until we hit the neck. When we hit the neck, we're good.
I hear you. Wow.
When we hit the neck, we're good. So I'm saying all this is to say, this same rule applies with our life and our businesses. We're not jumping any Chinese skipping rope, but we are jumping over different hoops in life. And if we're not focused on where we need to go and the heights we need to reach, so you might want to stop at the waist. So that's okay. You know why you want to stop at the waist. But don't ask to go to the neck if you don't want to stretch yourself that far.
Okay.
It's difficult. And that's why it's difficult. And that's why it's so difficult to make the decision first. Then it's difficult to continue on the decision that's made because now that's a discipline thing. If anybody's listening here and you're listening to the replay and you read your Bible, you can't tell me it wasn't difficult when you first started. The Bible is one of the best books to read, one of the most difficult books to read, then the most difficult book to understand when you start reading the book. Because your mind will play so many tricks on you. It puts you to sleep. It sends you away in a daze. You start thinking about great things you can do when you're not really doing them if you want to read your Bible, first of all. But you do this. And okay, let me talk from my experience. Fall asleep, days away, plan things, get pen and paper, got a calculator, call out to my kids, all the sort of things. I was just distracted. And then the story I told myself was just boring. And what's going to take place and what I'm going to learn from it and how I not even planning ahead, but for some reason, I know not for some reason, it is a reason, I get to use it with my kids, with people I interact with on a daily basis, weekly basis. God gives me the opportunity to talk about scriptures and read it. Because I was explaining yesterday to my son, and on Monday, I was reading about David and Saul, and the situation came up, and he wanted an explanation, and I was telling him about David and Saul. I was telling him about a lie and what happened and why, and he said, Mom, that happens in the Bible? Yeah, you got to read your Bible. You see, you're not reading your Bible. You got to read it. He goes, I don't necessarily want to read it, but now that you explain that to me, I think I want to go see one. So it's encouraging him That's not a thing he would want to go to. He'd rather play a game. But now he's inquisitive enough to commit. At least it's a part. For any self-help. If you really want to help yourself, go read the Bible because you'll really help yourself. And the interviewer said to him, why would you recommend the Bible? I mean, aren't we thinking about worldly things now? I mean, there's people who, is not Christian and you kind of pushing this on them. He said, I'm not pushing anything on anybody, but I'm telling you that without the Bible, I wouldn't be here doing what I do today. And so I am not going to take but any other book before the Bible. The Bible comes first, and then I'll tell you about any other book after. And if you don't believe in God, I can't do anything about that. That's you and God's story. But the Bible comes first, and then I'll tell you the other books. So if we could continue the interview, it's cool. And if it's over, I understand. But I'm not going to change that.
Okay.
He's standing in what he believes in, right? He believes that, and he's standing on it. We got to let people know that. So, any questions before I go any further, ladies?
Well, now I got one. One was it's hard to make a difficult decision when you're budgeting. Budgeting is a difficult decision to make. And then number two, you said it forces us to be disciplined. Did we do number three?
Discipline with ourselves.
Okay.
Number two was discipline with ourselves. And number three was a bit long, so I'm going to shorten it.
Okay.
Number three is you want to do what others are doing.
Okay.
Or have done. Because nothing's wrong with wanting to do it. You just have to want to pay the price. Because everything we do costs us time or money. It costs us. And you just have to decide. Because once you decide what it is, like I read this talk somewhere where they say the rich is more focused on their time while the poor is focused on their money. And it's really true because if somebody is really starving, and one of the things I do in my budget course is show people how to live off of the money they have, how to live by adding a talent, and the other part is how to live with no money at all, which forces you into a place like no other. Or just how to live with whatever you have in your home for a week without spending any. Or live, if you have, I know the things that most people got things coming automatically out of their account. So for the stuff that has to be paid, it's paid, but don't spend any other money. And they will see for themselves. And I can't even tell you how it's going to appear for you because it's just something that is self. It happens to self. And each self, witness it and behaves differently in the situation. But it's a really, really good challenge to give yourself because it really have you see you, and you could either shine or dip and hide, but it really gets to see you if you were to do something like that and challenge yourself. Okay, in this situation. So you focus all the time when you have no money on how I'm going to make money, how I'm going to make money, how I'm going to make money, and so you can't be happy. You can't be. You can't enjoy all the glorious things around you because that's your focus. So you're angry, upset, you're just mad all the time. And sometimes you don't even realize you're that mad about it until somebody, especially if a child, say to you, why are you upset? And now you have to really think, because when kids ask you why you're upset, there's something more than adults. When kids tell you you're upset, I remember when my son told me that, he says, Mom, years ago, I was fighting around like crazy. And my son said to me, Mom, you're never an angry person. What happened? I paused. I stopped in my track. I went inside my room and I Right? I was like, I'm angry. He's like, yes. I'm afraid to ask you. But this is a child that we talk about everything. And then he said that to me, and that she was still young. I was like, I can't pass this on to my children. Like, what's wrong with me? And I had to really go and search me to see where all this was coming from and actually work through it, because I can't ask my kids to come talk to me, and then when they try to talk to me because I'm so angry in my own life that I can't hear them, then they go out and get false information. I mean, kids gonna do what they're gonna do anyway, but to not have somebody to come talk to, it's not a good place for them to be. So I had to search myself to see what was happening at the time that I was falling into the kind of works that I didn't need to fall into. Did you guys see A Wrinkle in Time already?
Not
No,
yet.
I plan to see it though.
I'm not gonna say anything.
Don't.
Yeah,
No spoiler alerts.
spoiler. No spoiler. That's why I asked for it before I said anything.
Okay, thank you. How about we talk about it next week? Because I plan.
Yes. Yes. Okay. Good. Because I think that's some good stuff that I want to pull into my storyline and my teaching stuff next week. And we'll continue talking about budget for the rest of the month, because I said this is a month I really wanted to dive in and talk about it in a different manner. Not only the numbers, lining it up, making sure it works, but also I like to give the yin and the yang. So if you have any questions, ask me before I go on the thing, and then we'll talk about
Well, Caren, I know that it's important for adult learners to know why. We're not going to do it if we don't know why it makes sense to do. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I really appreciate you taking the time to help me work through the why so that I can improve my commitment.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So you want to know why you should be committed to the budget.
And I think that's what we're talking about today.
Yes.
You know what I mean? You're telling me it's a way for me to exercise discipline in my life. It's a way for me to, what's to say here, make difficult decisions. It's a difficult decision to and do this.
Yes.
Decision, Francine, right? And at one time, I was just dictating it to a note, but the less than I stopped at. You know?
Because the continuum discipline is if you lost everything, God forbid that you lost everything, and you still get up in the morning, you lost your whole house. Let me tell you what this is. If you get up in the morning and you lost your home and you don't have your car anymore, but you will still get up, and if your routine was to pray, read the Bible, and work out, you will do it even if you're crying.
That's true.
That's the commitment of the You will get up and you need to do it. You need to do it even if you need to cry through it. Even if you need to sulk through it until you can get past that stage. Because to not grieve about something is to lie to yourself, because you're going to carry it over. So don't go lying. If these things happen, you have to stop and really do it. Cry, do whatever you need to do, but you can't stop the thing that you set out and promise yourself to do.
Yes, and you have to set a period. He said there's a time to mourn. So let's just have that little hissy fit. Get over it. And that's when it really comes to reality that it was never yours anyway. So, you please, you're a bad steward of.
So here, this is what has been helping me. Changing the word goal to a commitment. Now, if I make this a commitment, it's better for me to say I am committed to following this budget than just to say I have a goal to follow a budget, because goal kind of is a little
nebulous.
Yeah, kind of, okay. And it's not really, like Terry says, it's like nailing jello to the wall. With a goal, it's kind of moving, and you might do it and you might not. But if I take that and make that a commitment, I am committed to following this budget, that's a promise that you are making to yourself. And that goes a little bit deeper, and it holds you a little bit more accountable.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And if that word works for you, or promise is another good word you can use for yourself. I love must, because when I use must, I will get it done. So everybody's got their word that they use. I use goal broad because everybody knows it. And sometimes it just helps them to understand. But substituting words is a really great idea, because it's really significant for you, the individual, and nobody can take that away. Like you have to see you. You can hear people's story, you can hear about things, but
Mm-hmm.
if it doesn't resonate with you, it can't. You can't seem to do it. I talked a little bit about this last week or some week. I talked about my great uncle. Uncle Albert would come home from work, and I used to really admire his discipline in work at an incinerator all day long. His wife sent him to work. He come home, he have a shower, he eat, and he got on that table. If he was building a table a day, if he was building chairs, and I mean, until it get dark, he just worked on it. When he was finished, he'd probably have another shower, and he played dominoes, and he win a lot of tournaments. And so he went to practice domino. You hear he say to his wife, "Well, I'm leaving now." And we know the days that he went to play dominoes, and he went and played dominoes. And those days it's not because of tournament, but that's the practice days. Because when he's going to play a tournament, he's not coming home with anything less than a win. I've never known him to not win in tournaments. And the man was disciplined to a fault. He got up in the morning and went to work. He was the foreman there, so of course he got in before everybody else and make sure everybody else would, leave before he left. But when he come home and when you watch the man craftsmanship, I mean, that was the other thing that really was so inspiring. He had 7 kids. So when he made, because they couldn't get a dining table, that was 7 kids, and he and his wife, and we are there, and everybody's there, and he made these 2 tables, a big table for the big people and a smaller table for the kids, right? And the table, nobody's paying him, it's for his family, but we use green heart and purple heart and just how he meshed them in and plane them down and oil them down. I mean, you think it's for, if you really think about it, people say, well, it's for the president or somebody. No, it's for his family, but the time he spent on it. Now, he's had people work to do, and we hear this thing, if you're a hairdresser, your hair is not never right. That's a lie, because I keep my hair well. And he was like that. Like, whatever he made for the home was done just as well as somebody that was paying him money. And if you order something from him, you couldn't be in a rush because the time he spent on it. And I mean, surprisingly, the time I used to always say, but no, I understand. People are just coming to see the process. They're stopping. Oh, everybody used to call it Ale. Oh, Ale, I see my thing coming together. And then they got and they check back in, and then they got and then they come pick it up when it's all done. But that continuous effort in, getting things done because he said he's going to get it done, and I guess give them timeline so they know when they're going to get it done. And we got so many different things. I know those times were a little quieter because in Guyana around 2 o'clock, you could drop a pin. It was so quiet. It literally would get quiet around 2:30, 3. At least from 2 to 3, the whole place, no matter where you are, you're in school or you're at home, this lull you would hear, and the place would just gone quiet. Shops are closed. You can't go buy anything. It just quiet down. I don't know what's happening now. So it was just like Good Friday. Like Good Friday, if you open a store, you'll be charged. The police will come. You'll get a ticket. You can't be open. Period. Everything shut down. It's in a lot of quietness. But I know there's a lot of noise, and I know the noise affects you. I'm not dismissing that, and it has our brain going, but we have to find our own peace with it to be able to step aside and do the things that we know, no matter how difficult, need to be done. We really have to.
Nice.
Right.
So,
Any other questions?
so we have Alfredo here. He was watching, and he says, looking back here, he said that budgets were for, they help you to do things that you want to do, like buy a house or buy a car, what have you.
So budgets really are. Let me reframe this. So a budget can really be your building block for what you're aspiring to.
Yes.
It can be a stepping stone to getting what you want.
Yes, it's all these things. And that's why I call it's your first financial statement. And that's why I also call it shows you your true financial story. It is so, I mean, we read about the different parts of the Bible where they talk about money and land and hall and all the different things that they talk about. And they might not call it budget, they might not call it whatever, but and that's the word we're using, but you can call it different things again. You can substitute words. But when you have your true financial story, if your true financial story is I only have $10 right now and I only make $20 a month, that is your true financial story. Your next step is just finding out what you need, what you want. That's it.
Wow. You know what? I just reframed this that a budget is my path to happiness.
Love it. Loving
That
it.
sounds so much
So much nicer.
Yes.
Celebration time.
It's a path to happiness. Now I want to get on the road.
Because
So every time you think about it, you think about part of your happiness. That's part of your happiness too. Like,
Yeah.
it's your happiness tool. I like that because
Now I can get excited about this, ladies, because this whole thing about budgets and spending plans and but if you tell me that this is now a path to happiness, you might be able to sell me that.
I know it's been a hard sell for
As a trainer, I'm always, looking for
but see that's how
ways for people to understand, digest, and accept stuff.
and that is when Sandra Davis was on and she was talking about the hardest thing to do is get somebody to do it, to get somebody to buy into the help that they need. It is very difficult. She and Caren are in a very hard, industry because people are going to go like la 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 la. They don't want to.
Or they're going to go like this, and then they're going to go back and do whatever they were going to do.
Exactly. So
they're going to buy that pair of shoes.
They're like, whatever. I heard it.
They get rebellious. They're like,
yes, exactly. Oh, girl, I can't do it. So you know what? I'm buying the shoes. What the heck?
And so that's why helping to reframe the words and as a coach, I thank you for doing that because you help people like, okay, what do you like? Terry just discovered. Oh, I need to call that a path to happiness. Okay.
That's the beauty of coaching. You don't want to tell people what you want them to do. You want them to come in and take up from what you're talking about so that they can form their own. Because when it's your own, you're more excited about it anyway. And if I tell you, you're more excited that you came up with this. It works for you.
Yep.
Well, the other thing is, though, Caren, as a coach, if I'm sitting on the bench and I know I want to run this, 100-yard dash, the coach comes up to me, they're going to tell me, well, if you stand this way, you do better. I think all of that is important. But I got to want it in my heart. Mm-hmm. So you got to talk to me about what it is that makes my heart connect with winning the race.
I agree.
Happiness makes me want to connect.
I agree 100%. It's really.
And I hear people talk about this all the time. You need to know your why. I need to know what's going to happen if I don't do this. Because sometimes that's a real motivator.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. And it depends on the time that the people say will motivate them, because something might motivate you today that just wasn't yesterday or tomorrow. So.
And it change. Yes, it can change.
Yes.
And so it can be a heart thing. It can be a mind thing. It can be something tangible I want. But happiness sort of covers it all.
Yeah.
Individual, because your happiness might come from X and mine might come from Y.
Right. Yes.
Okay.
Nice.
So I'm calling this budget thing a path to happiness now. Y'all.
The budget is a path to happiness.
Being debt-free would make me very happy.
This is beautiful. I thought I need to give this a whole month because it's not something I can just come in and plug in the numbers and say, holy, I needed to do a step. So today I was debating. I'm like, you know what? I'm doing this for the whole month because I've got this whole big course and I can just pull out pieces of it and just talk you guys about it. So I'm going to go in now and share with us. Let me bring that up first. Wait on. I'm going to go in now and just share with you guys what I set up for my little slide so we can actually just go through the path of some of the things. So I got to stick into a budget. It's difficult. because it's life. It's all the other things that come in, right? It is really hard. It's hard. And making choices. Humans just hate it, as I said before. You see,
Mm-hmm.
I got this picture. So you don't have to be great to start, but you have to start to be great. And you
Yes.
might sitting there thinking that I've got to either run up the step, get up and do push-ups, or just move my arms and legs. And she's like, oh my God, I got to start this. Like, how do I get up and start this? And even though I use exercise as part of what she was feeling, and I picking this up, and I know that it registered in so many other areas, even though this is exercise, because exercise, as much as I talk about money, but fitness is side by side with this. It's the side by side within the thing that keep us stagnated and don't want to move. I mean, and it doesn't matter to be fat or slim, because if you were slim and you put on some weight, you feel just as bad as the person who's big and fat, only because you now have to deal with this newness that happened to you. And it gives you the same, and some people say, well, I'm not that fat yet, so they just continue on that journey. Not willingly, but part of their brain is telling them it's okay, because it's the easier part. It's the happier part. It's the part where I can do and not, even though I feel guilty after, it doesn't give me as much pain. The section of me doesn't give me as much pain. Nobody likes pain. Nobody likes pain, even though we know it's part of our lives. We don't like pain at all. And I do a long, long time ago, where you guys know a little bit about this, but for the sake of everybody else, I still put it in there. The situation was placed into a child's life, and she had to make a choice. And choosing was so hard. Choosing was so hard, because even though I knew the right choice to make at the time, because food is the right choice, but still going the distance was hard for me to make at the time. And but that was testing my mind. I think and I talk a little further down it. One of the things about making a choice, because you don't know the outcome yet. That test to get there, it's like, you guys remember when you were in school, you got a test to write. You know the material, but part of you still wondered if you really know the material when you get the test. And this is really true for our entire life. All those tests that we go on, and this stuff would just be beyond academics. It's our life. We start off in school, and then we see that the things we do and the kind of students we were, if we don't at some point start figuring out, we get trapped in that. We get trapped in that state, whatever that state is that we were in, whether it's because of family, and that's where it starts for us, or ourselves. And the game plan, manage your money, live your life. A budget is how to distribute your money. That's what it is, just distribute it. It's the end result that you always want to keep in mind. You guys have a different word. I have your goals. So your happy place for you, Caren.
Yes.
Yeah.
Happy goal.
And money is just one of the tools that get you there. That's all it is. And we know it's a tool. We will say it's a tool, but then when it comes in our hand, and I mean, every time a dollar hits your hand, you gotta ask yourself, what am I supposed to do with it? Like, it's a really valuable question to find out of yourself. Every single time, it's a good question to ask you. And for Terry, is I have your goal, but for Terry, is like, how happy do I want to feel? Or whatever relating to happiness words you want to use, those are the questions that allow you to allot it to the right place.
And so maybe we should stop asking people, what is your why? Because that could be
so broad. It's so broad.
It really is, and people don't get it if they've never even had a conversation about what your why is.
Yes.
But they all know what would really make you happy.
They would.
What would really make you smile.
Yes. Smile. I love the smile. Yes, I love the smile. I love the smile, because sometimes, and as we just said, what makes you happy today might make you happy tomorrow, or it didn't make you happy yesterday. But if you keep going deeper, everybody knows what makes them happy. It mightn't be tangible, and it mightn't show up as a gift or a skill or anything, but it is deep inside. Your happiness is. It makes me happy to come here every Wednesday and talk about this stuff, because I love teaching this stuff. I love coaching this stuff. It makes me happy that I can change somebody's way of thinking. so that they can think positive for themselves. It makes me happy that every time I show somebody they stick to their budget, they are paying all their bills so happily that they forget that this was a bill that they have to pay, because I'm showcasing to you the reason you're enjoying paying your bills because you got light, you get to pay for the water. The reason you're enjoying paying the bill because you got cable, you have a phone. Like those are things, those are the happiness you're getting out of this budget. But you're not struggling to pay because you've set aside X amount of dollars to do it every 16th, every 1st, every 15th, whichever date we set up. And even if they didn't check it, you call them back and you say that every 15th I want to pay my water bill. And then you set up that date. And then that's the date you pay your water bill. Are you happy to pay because I bathed this morning? I'm looking nice, I'm feeling fresh, I got drink water, I get to cook. All the happy things you get from the water bill versus it's a bill.
Mm.
And so I get to enjoy teaching that sort of stuff to people, or coaching through it. And number 5, being a kid, I always go back to being a kid. Being a kid has its perks. And one of the reasons I've spoken about this, about having you go back or get your mind to envision back your childhood, is to put you in perspective of what's happening today. You might not like it, but it really helps you to see you in a different light. It helps you see you in a happy place. Since we're talking about the let's go right there. You know, when you're happy, what is a little tiny thing that made you happy? Because when you're a kid, it's not big stuff that makes you happy. You know, it's hanging out with your cousins. Is if you have siblings and you them, whether you fight it or not, was having fun with them. It's happy to see a great aunt or an aunt that you haven't seen in a long time. You know, it's your dad because he brought you candy or some crap. It's nothing big that made you happy when you really look back and see on it. So now that you're this happy with yourself and dissatisfied with yourself and all that stuff, you get to see the little crumbs that get you to this place because you allow it.
Mm-hmm.
No blame, but we just allow it. Consciously and unconsciously, we allow it to happen. And so I like visiting back there, you know. It has its perks. You get things free from your parents. So I put there, being a kid has its perk. Your parents always let you have ingredients free. I know most kids, these days a lot of kids are doing it, but most time kids weren't thinking about these, right? All the free stuff they get, right? Because they really don't think you will take it much further. They really don't think you would take it much further. So you get things free.
I'm not sure I understand what you mean by they don't think you take it much further.
When your parent gives you something as a kid,
Mm-hmm.
unless the parent is in business, they expect you to eat it or do whatever with it.
Okay.
If you were a parent, right? You're a parent, and you give your kid a coloring book. They color. If the child is resourceful, they might want to sell because a child, if they're resourceful, they might sell the coloring book, the finished product, right?
Mm-hmm.
That was freely given to the kid.
Yep, but
And they might have told you, but you didn't take it to any meaning anything. So somebody bought a page or painting. And let's say that kid started understanding that they can actually sketch or draw, and they start selling their drawings.
Yes.
That child is resourceful, but we don't even see that. We don't see the resourcefulness at that point.
Well, I tell you what disturbed me about my children, they would go to preschool and they would trade up. I mean, my daughter went to preschool with 2 pencils and came home with a Barbie doll. Well, I had to walk that back because to me that wasn't a fair exchange. But they were very resourceful. It might have been because they were working in the ministry and they always saw exchange and commerce going on. Yeah, okay.
So you see that skill, that was a skill right there.
It's a skill.
That was a skill right there. You're saying they're trading up. You're saying that it wasn't fair. But the person had a chance to negotiate and they didn't. So they just came out the winner. But they
did. And we said we celebrated the win, but we also talked about you have to walk this back because at some point you have to understand there's some ethics involved here.
Okay, yes, there are ethics. However, the kid might have wanted those pencils more than they wanted that doll.
Yes, yes. I'm going to tap into that right now. I'm glad you said Francis because that's what we're going to touch on. My daughter would cut off the doll's hair so the doll was nothing to her, but the pencil was important because she was a sketcher. So she would have wanted those pencils. And so the more value ever to her. So even though you see it as something less, in her eyes it was more. The doll meant nothing. But the kid who wanted to be a hairdresser might enjoy the doll, or a fashionista later would enjoy the doll to make dresses for the doll. You understand? So it's really fair to each party depending on what your need is. And I'm going to take that train of talk a little further. That's also, and this is not the ones where people are just greedy snatching around. No, not an ethical part, but the part where sometimes it's uneven, but it's uneven based on what you're watching at. It's not uneven if you spoke to both people and they're getting the best benefit out of each thing, even though one is of lesser value.
Mm-hmm.
Even though one is of lesser value. Let me tell you something. I grew up poor. I say it all the time, not because I want anybody to feel sorry for me, but it's a fact. So, Carolina, having a needle to do needlepoint was so important to me. But I couldn't buy a needle to do needlepoint. So whatever the teacher gave me in school, I could use. But then once I leave school, I can't come home and continue the practice of my needlepoint, and I enjoyed it to no ends. So I had exchanged food for needlepoint because for needles, and the needles is not a lot of money, but I had the food ready made, so I just gave it to the kid who needed the food, which seems like she got more than me, but in my mind, that needle was so important because if I came home and I keep practicing my chain stitch and stem stitch and satin stitch and all those, I could do a better project. Because I was looking at, I've always been a big picture girl. So I'm always looking at the end game, how beautiful it's going to look. Then it's going to sell at the Brig and Buy sale. And then I was promised 10% if it was sold. So I'm seeing way beyond the needle and the food that I have. Because when I go home, I'm going to eat. Now, if you watch it at the exchange, it made no sense. But it made sense in my heart. And it made sense for that child because she got to eat. She had no food. And I get the needle because she didn't care about sewing anything. But I cared further along. But if an adult saw that, why would you give her your food, Karen? Just for a needle? Well, they have a needle, but I don't.
Mm-hmm. And so this shows that we can't determine somebody else's value. We can't tell them that's valuable and that's not valuable because it's all value is in the mind of the beholder. It is in the person who is looking at the thing, whether that's valuable to them.
Mm-hmm. It really, really is. Like I talk in little dribbles and I'm putting it out here again, an orange, and you can beg somebody who has an orange tree, you can get a piece of orange and family give you orange. But yet somebody bought a segment of orange for 5 cents from me. Why? She didn't have to walk to the market to get an orange. I mean, and if an adult saw her stepmom probably would have told her not to buy the orange, but in her mind, this was a sweet orange. She didn't have to get a sour orange to figure out when she could get a sweet one. This was sweet. She was going to buy it. And that was that.
And you know what else I saw with that? Because I saw the picture up on your page. Mm-hmm. The other thing was she didn't have to peel it.
Not yet.
It was worth the 5 cents. If I don't have to peel the orange, it's already sweet. I don't have to do all of that. I don't have to go to the store and get the orange. And so she paid the 5 cents for all of the convenience, of the service.
Yeah, and I told her, like, I didn't even hide it over time because we were friends and we started talking. I told her when I went to buy the first set of oranges, I didn't even realize. When I actually myself went and buy 5 oranges in a parcel, and I said to her, she's like, I don't really care, Karen. I'm going to still buy by the fig. It didn't faze her. It did not faze her. She kept buying by the fig because I would get the sweet oranges. She's like, we got orange, but it's sour. I don't want sour orange. She would buy it. And other people would buy it too. And it always, up to this day, I talk about it so much because I see people do that in different aspects. They would want something, and if it's convenient enough, if it's something they want, and while I might look at it, or you might look at it as too expensive, or why would I not do that? They're looking at it like, why wouldn't I?
We do that all the time with prepackaged food, convenience, drive-throughs, right? We're paying for the convenience of having someone else prepare it and having it right now.
Yes.
As opposed to going home and cooking it. We know we could save money. You know what I mean?
Yes, exactly.
And that's why when we set a price on our own products, we need to keep in mind that these people are not going to have to do all the stuff that we find so easy to do.
Yep,
Like when
yep,
Terry creates a kimono or a cover up, they don't have to go to the store. They don't have to be hustling and
yeah,
bustling with people in the store. And they found something that covers and looks beautiful. They don't have to spend hours in the line trying to figure it out. Okay. And going through rack and rack and rack and rack and rack.
exactly.
You save
It's
them
just a
time.
yeah, you save them time. And that's more important because they know it's going to look beautiful. Even if they've seen it on your website or somebody had recommended them or through conversation you talk about it. I mean, by the time you're done, you're ready to buy because you have established this rapport, this conversation with this person. And for me and the orange, that's what happened to me and the girl. And that's why I laugh every time people say don't sell to your friends and family right away. First, because it's not true in every case, and I know they have families who just want a deal and what have you. I get that, but it's okay to tell them first. It's okay to talk to them. Because if you're not talking to them in a conversational manner and you're just talking to them about the product, then you don't have no pressure unless they ask you how much for it. Now, here's where the pressure comes in. And this stuff is just me talking about monthly and stuff. So I'll just close out the share because you guys see what I was talking about.
Mm-hmm.
And so, really and truly, when somebody asks you in a conversation, how much is your cover up? And you say $100, and they say, wow. They could mean, wow, is that available? Or they could mean, wow, it's too expensive. It's whatever meaning you put to the wow. Don't put any meaning on the wow. Just let the wow hang out in the air and let it float around. No emotions from you. Whatever you feel it, bury it far below your gut. Carry it to your toes if you must. Not a word. Just allow it to float and hang in the air. They're thinking. They're trying to figure this stuff out and what to come around with or what to tell you. Don't tell them anything. Now, if you feel funny inside of you, you're like, oh my God, I wonder if I charge too much, nobody's going to buy from me. There's a whole lot of nobody's coming your way. But if you said to yourself, it's $100 and I can't believe I'm giving it away for that price because of the work I put in, I'm so proud of getting it done. There's a new set of people coming your way who is wanting that top. And when this thing is first told to me, I was doubtful. Even though I knew and I was still doubtful of it. It's our disposition towards it. Aunt Dinah, lady, y'all call her Aunt Dinah, she had no kids. Her clothing, if anybody charged $20 or $40 for a dress, hers were $120. And the most simplest clothes. She didn't make nothing fancy. But the scene in the construction was well done. And she had this is her spot. Aunt Dinah brought this to my grandmother. Okay, put it there. She wants to know how much it's going to cost. This is how she tells me the price. Tell your grandmother it's $125. Not missing a beat. It's just a
Yeah.
big smile in her face.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I like that smile when you say it.
Big old smile on her face. And I go and I told my grandmother, and she's like, okay, so I guess that street dress is about $375. All right. No fuss. No fuss. I've also been at Aunt Dinah and see she told me the prices because I was a little child that liked to go visit the lady because she said that's crap and I would be using them to do different things. And she would just literally put the fabric, look at the fabric, admire the fabric, fold it back, put it into their bags and just put it in their hands. She goes, maybe this is not the time for us to make that dress. Still the smile. No discussion about discount and maybe no. It was here's your fabric in your bag, and this would not be the time for us to make the dress. Now you got to go ponder that because she's not pondering that. You get the dress back. This is a woman who this is all she did for a living. She made beautiful, simple dresses,
Mm-hmm.
and her clientele had moved was from domestic women all the way up to people in the government. She made clothes whether you were a domestic, and her prices didn't change because you were a domestic. That was the key. Because my grandmother was a domestic. If you were a domestic worker, your price was the same as the person in the government. It wasn't about your price. It was about her craftsmanship and what you value, you either value her work or not. Where you're going to invest, and then when you invest, you're going to be like dying because investment, life is risky. Investment is risky. There's no two ways about it. If anybody tell you got to save for investment, you're not really going to move and do much stuff. It's just part of life. It's, just a fact of life. You don't have to go and do the crazy ones where you lose all your money, what have you. But every investment has its own type of risk. And it allows you to build up that risk. And that's the thing about a budget. It really allows you to go through these kind of feelings that you feel about it. How you feel about this money being paid out. And that's why I love the concept of understanding that when you pay your water bill, it's so you have it back. Versus like, oh my God, I got to pay this water bill again. Oh my God, I got to pay for this light again.
I like how you just explained that. I'm paying the water bill so I can enjoy a nice bath, or so I can have a nice shower, or wash dishes, or wash clothes.
Yeah.
And so you're not all like, it takes the anxiety out from it.
From it,
Yeah.
exactly. And you're using different words, as you guys will say, which is so true. You get to use different words. You get to see it in a different light. And it doesn't feel like such pressure. I mean, that's the same thing when people are paying back their bills. I mean, they know they're spending money. Don't harp on them and say, well, you spend the money, now you got to pay back bills. Nobody want to hear that. They're beating themselves up 10 times more than you can ever tell somebody. That they're beating themselves up, period. But they need to understand why. They need to understand the interest. They need to understand if you pay bills over 5 years. Here is how much more you're paying versus if you paid off in 3 years. To understand what needs to be done to make that happen. And to see how you feel without owing anything. With being debt free, to have that. Now you're building in a different mind frame. Your legacy is totally different. What you're leaving, what you're portraying, what you're telling. Because your kids watch you more than they listen to you. They watch what you're doing. They watch what you're doing. You can tell them, but if there's nothing behind what you're telling them, they're gonna mess up anyway. We know this, but they're still watching to see. Because they're hoping, and everybody's hoping that their mother, father, whoever is doing great things. Nobody wants their parents to die. But when they do die, they'll wish they leave them something, something to go forward.
Yeah.
I know monetary is great, but they also want the other things that they leave them. People leave them like journals talking about their lives. That's valuable to some people. Some people print a book off of people who leave them stuff, right? Or maybe some piece of jewelry, a piece of something that has a story with it. People enjoy those things. If they tell nobody, they still do.
Yep. Thank you so much for bringing this to our attention, because we really, really enjoy exploring aspects of our money mind that we have never even, you bring things to the surface that's helping us. That's what I would say, because now you can think on it differently, and it's not the same tired old.
I'm serious. With the happiness, I'll never call it a budget.
I love that name, Terry. You don't know. I'm stealing that and putting it in my coffee.
I'm never calling it a budget.
I'm putting it in my context.
The road to happiness. Well, this is what we do, right, Francine? We see things, we reframe them, we show people how to get points across clearly and simply so people can digest it, so we can, get on with what we got to do, so it's not convoluted. And so that when you start talking about it, I said, okay, this is, if I call this, then now you can talk to me about I take a mental vacation. And I think about this all the time as a trainer. Is this going to make my audience take a mental vacation? Okay, let me call it this. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's the same concept. But I got to call it this, or I will lose these people.
Yeah, they're going to sleep.
They're going to the bathroom. They're looking at their phone. They're
going to sleep.
Checking out.
On a vacation on it.
Yeah. So this was great. Next week, we're going to talk a little bit about the people that we're going to cover, at least within the next 2 weeks, we'll talk about no budget, little budget, all that sort of stuff. And as Caroline said, we're talking about being a happy place. And so we're going to cover ways on how to do that.